I'd like to demonstrate that the text style that's current does influence the plant schedule that's drawn. For example, we have a fairly simple design for a rear area here with a boardwalk and little mosaic embedded there as a decorative feature, and all of the plants have been tagged. I've loaded my plant list, which now runs to 160 odd individual species. They're the species that I work with commonly, that I know, and I select from them, sorting them into height order if required. I've tagged all of the plants to their species, and you can see that by saying let's show symbols with names, and all those symbols that plants, if you like, that have been tagged are there. The ones that aren't tagged here are existing trees that are on the site, and I don't need them in the plant schedule because they stay. But I digress. What I want to show is that if I set a text style as arc style for the sake of argument, so format text styles, I've created these styles using particular fonts. I like to make the style name the same as the font name, and then there can be no confusion. So arc style we make as the current text style, and we go gCADPlus, plant tools, and draw the plant schedule. I'll say no, I don't want that red dot in there, but yes, I do want the botanical name and common name stacked on top of one another, and I'll ask for the first point input and the second. So let's zoom in a bit, in goes the plant schedule using the currently selected font and draws it. If I wanted a bigger plant schedule, I can draw. There's nothing to stop me drawing a larger box. So gCADPlus, plant tools, draw a plant schedule. Well, I'll leave it at yes and yes. And my first point there and my second point down here, can you see I'm drawing a much bigger schedule? I've got more space to the right of the botanical name. So you can ring the changes quite easily just by your top left click and bottom right click. But if I change my style to one called KG Lego or Lego, let's do that. Format, text styles, and we'll make that one the current style. And we draw again our schedule, and we say no and yes, input our first point there and down through there. You can see now the plant schedule looks a little different because it's drawn in that particular font. It's a font that, to my view, doesn't quite leave enough space between, I find, Acacia myrtifolia, the generic name and the species name, just a little bit close, but you might disagree. Let's do one final one. We'll pick this one over here, which is a style interestingly called Architect's Daughter. These are all based on freely available TrueType fonts, which we've converted to work in gCADPlus, and we've checked carefully that the authors of these fonts are happy for them to be used. So let's set the style Architect's Daughter. So format, text style, Architect's Daughter, and away we go. gCADPlus, plant tools, draw the schedule, and from there down to there, so we've drawn a wider schedule, and you can see that the text now appears. So can you see that you'll pick a lettering style that works for you, and I'm sure you'll be able to, because these schedules and things are so easy to do. What I might do to illustrate, if I explode that schedule will stay, I'll just draw another schedule in this zone here, but I'll make it narrower, and that should cut down on the space here. So gCADPlus, plant tools, draw the schedule. We'll keep the criteria the same. So we'll say our first point there, we'll make it narrower but the same height, and in it goes. Can you see what happens? We haven't left enough space for that rather long species name there. So we need a schedule that's somewhere between those two, and I'm sure you can find that. Because it is so easy to do, it's easy to get it right. Don't forget there's an update tool there, gCADPlus, plant tools, and update a plant schedule. If you happen to go into the design, which is over here, come in there and you think, well, maybe there aren't enough of those, I'll copy that particular plant and throw some more in. The update plant schedule will update the number as you've made those changes. So always update your plant schedule before you go to print. So I hope that gives you some illustration of the value of managing your text styles in the work that you're doing. In most desktop publishing and graphic work like this, you try and minimize the number of text styles and probably pay to match the style used over the design here, which I don't think is Architect's Daughter. No, it's the Lego house style. I'd be inclined to match the two so that you change this style to, in our case, Architect's Daughter, so that the style used in the drawing matches the style that's used in the plant schedule.